The mayors are here to speak of their experience on the international program, and we'll start with Mayor Doug Frey.
Well, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here. And you know, we talk about Team Waterloo, and I think what we've done over the number of years, we've always had a Team Waterloo in the region. We've just never formalized it like we have this evening when we talk about it. But if I go back in the history of this region, and I think of how we've come together as communities at certain times, whether it was Elmira with the water issues that we had to deliver a new supply of water, whether it was the opportunity to bring Toyota into Cambridge in 1985, and the whole region stood behind that and said, yes, we're going to support that. Or even recently, a few years ago, we had a major fire in Cambridge, having Kitchener fire trucks down in Cambridge helping us in terms of the issues under the mutual aid agreement. And it's really important to understand that all we're doing right now is formalizing this on a more significant level with regard to the business community, and we're quite proud, quite happy to go ahead and do that. One of the things that John talked about is he talked about the importance of mayors. Now, mayors in China, as an example, from my experience, have a very high status, very important. And I remember arriving at the hotel after 22 hours of flight, being met at the door by 4 staff people and taken up to an upgraded room with a bouquet of flowers this big. No one's ever given me flowers before. And you get into that kind of understanding of just how mayors and what the importance of mayors are. I remember talking to my city clerk about the new Municipal Act, and I said, you know, under the new Municipal Act, what kind of extra powers do I have? And he said, well, really none. All you've got is you can call meetings and sign the emergency declaration. And I remember saying to him as he left, I said, look, whatever you do, don't tell anybody that. Because what we really work under a system, you know, that is really ceremonial to some extent and persuasive to another extent. And it works well, okay? And that's not really an issue. But when you go to China and you visit there, you really get an indication of the importance of having the mayor along to open the doors, not only to the government officials, but to the various businesses there that want to do business with us and want to also reciprocate by coming here and doing business. So when I went there, it was really interesting. It's a very onerous trip to some extent in terms of the demanding schedule, but I think it's very satisfying. And I remember when I did come back at one point in my State of the City address, I broke it down into 3 parts. I spoke about China. I had the Consul General from Shanghai, who was a native of Cambridge, speak to the audience, and also the director of the museum who had been to China and is now doing cultural exchanges. And I think we have to understand just what's happening in the world. It's easy to say that, you know, the world is changing, there's a global economy out there, but it's moving in a different direction where cities and city regions, metropolitan areas like the region of Waterloo are playing more and more of a high profile in terms of relationships with different parts of the world. It's not a matter of nation to nation anymore. It's a matter of city to city. And we're now signing memorandums of understanding. We're now signing cultural agreements. We're now enticing businesses to come here. And in fact, on April the 5th, I have 15 delegates from China coming in to talk to us. Because when I was in China, I had the fortunate luck with John's leadership here to be put on the APEC conference, which was the Asian Pacific Economic Conference, a major international conference, to speak about Cambridge's technology with regards to asset management, a system that we have installed there, which is not only unique in the region, in Canada and North America, but it has a lot of benefits for anybody. So we're having this delegation come back, and they want to see what we're doing, how we're doing it, and all the kind of the attributes of the system that we're now employing. Again, I come back to it's a collaborative effort. Mayor Zehr, Mayor Halloran, and I, all of us agree, in fact, in doing what we're doing and cooperating with the business community to see this happen. John Young is a great ambassador for this community, and it's very mild just to say, well, he's done certain things and so on. He is, in fact, is a great ambassador in terms of this region, and when I was with him, it was always evident about his care and concern about how this trip was going, how those relationships were being put together, and how we would benefit from different things. And it was 24 hours a day, literally, for him at times, in terms of his helping us through these trips. These trips are important. They're important for Cambridge. They're important for the region of Waterloo. They're important for everybody in this room. And that's why we're doing it. And I think what we've done is we've we've set the standard now, I think, in some parts of Ontario for the way that we need to recognize that it's not just city to city, as I said before, in terms of internally. It has to be throughout the world, and we have to do exactly what we're doing today. So ladies and gentlemen, I've got two other great speakers here. Thank you very much for your time, your attention, your support, and thank you very much for today for listening to all of us in terms of a new beginning for the region of Waterloo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. And I want to say at the outset that unlike Doug, who says he had a bias for Cambridge and talked about Cambridge occasionally, not once when I was in Brazil did I ever mention Kitchener. Well, these missions, and you may start to hear a theme amongst all of us, but these missions really do provide an opportunity to share information, to learn from each other, and to promote our local economies. That's what it is. And this is always, as John has mentioned, been about a long-term plan. And while there may be some quick successes for some businesses, and I'll get that in a moment, building relationships over a long and extended period of time creates a good foundation for lasting friendships, the trust that John was talking about. Trade is exactly that. Trade. So, as a business community, we want to promote Canadian products and services to those foreign marketplaces, of course. But likewise, learn about new opportunities related to the products and services that are in those foreign markets. So we're trying to be exporters of products and services and importers of some of those as well, but we're in competition with some of our Canadian colleagues across the country. Now, the Brazilian participants, I'm just going to quickly name who they were. The Desire to Learn, University of Waterloo, Drew is here this evening, Logicor, OpenText, Christie Digital, Exchange Magazine, the City of Cambridge, and the City of Kitchener. Brazil is an emerging heavyweight in world affairs and one of the key countries to watch in the 21st century. It has the 5th largest landmass in the world. It has the 5th largest population, somewhere in excess of 200 million, not as big as China or India. It has the 8th largest economy and moving up that rank very quickly. And as was on the slide here, what John talked about, it takes leadership. This leadership has come from 3 successive presidents of Brazil who finally had saw that they needed to have some of this foreign trade working. So greater foreign direct investment into the country and a steady appreciation of the real, the currency, has helped that country significantly. And one of the last countries to be hit by the recession, and one of the first ones to get out. In fact, when we were there, they talked about it. Well, the recession didn't really have a significant effect on them.
They respect us. They look to us for leadership. So I signed the friendship agreement in 2009, and it takes a lot of time to build these relationships. It doesn't happen overnight. And when I came back, you have the diplomatic messages going back and forth. But the big one came for us as the City of Waterloo about a year ago, when the City of Chongqing asked us to participate in their International Garden Expo, a 500-acre permanent garden that they were going to build. And they built it in 8 months. And the City of Waterloo has a permanent garden there, and we recreated the Victorian Gardens from Waterloo Park. They paid for our staff to go over there. Our staff helped design the site. And then in November, they were opening this garden. And when we went over, and John was part of that, we took over a member, Jamie Martin came with us representing WLU. Leo Rothenberg came with us representing UW. Larry Rechtensteiner, who is the chair of our ambassador committee, came, as well as Dr. Aaron Chan, and we had various businesses who met us over there. When we went there, I had assumed that I was going to be cutting the ribbon on this lovely park. When we got there, it was a bit of a different experience. It was almost like the opening of an Olympics. There were tens of thousands of people. There were people singing and dancing and smoke shooting up in the air. It was unbelievable. And this little Canadian group just stood there and looked at me and said, "Oh my goodness." And we are a part of this. And there's our garden there right there. After the big ceremonies was over, we went to our garden, and it's absolutely beautiful. It was full of children drawing the gazebo. The city of Waterloo was given one of the most prestigious recognitions by the Chinese government. We were on their news that night. We were part of I was on television. Apparently I was famous in China. This is really significant because we now have a permanent garden in Chongqing. I'm having citizens from that area email me, "I was in your garden, Mayor." I've had citizens who go over there or whose parents live in there saying, "I was in the city of Waterloo garden." This is a big move for us. It puts us on the map in this city of 33 million people. So this is a good thing for us. And we need to continue this. I believe strongly that this is something we need to do as a community because it's not going to be done by the rules of government. This is us. This is our future. And this is our economic development that is just waiting for us. I applaud John Young and his leadership. I've known him for many years. We've been on several interesting trips. He represents his community in such a strong diplomatic way. And I can only tell you that I've witnessed him in action, and he's really magnificent. And you can thank him for that. But he is, and I'm really grateful that he's here. People around the globe know about Waterloo Region, and I know it's hard for you to comprehend that, but they just do. When we were in Taiwan, where we were in this last trip in November, John and I were asked to present at the Intelligent Community Forum in the new Taipei city in Taiwan. They are part of this intelligent community movement. This city wants to be one of the winners. So I got to talk about Waterloo Region. What is so great about this place? And people keep asking me, why are you so successful? What is it? And it's the old David Johnson, what's in the water in Waterloo? And I have to really think about it because it comes naturally to us. It's what we do best. We work together. I love the fact that you said we trust each other. We look out for each other. We want to succeed, and we're behind each other. And I think that's the magic and the beauty of this community. So when I talk about what's in the water in Waterloo, and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to know about Waterloo Region, and I have to think about it. And do you know what it is? It's about the people. It's about all of us and what we do. And our determination to succeed, and our determination to just go out there and take the world by storm. Because believe me, we are. After we did this conference, John and I went, and we met the Vice President of Taiwan. We had a half-hour meeting with the Vice President of Taiwan, which I thought was pretty amazing. He's offered to host a Mayor's Summit. I think next year they want to host this Mayor's International Summit in Taiwan. As we were leaving, we hear this commotion in the hallway. The President of Taiwan's walking with his arm out to shake John Young's hand. And well, I was second because John was one part of it. And I have met the President of Taiwan before. That is the esteem that this community is held in. The President and Vice President of Taiwan know about Waterloo Region. That's really something. So I could go on and on with my stories. But I think the message I wanted to say to all of you is that the work that we're doing is important. Not just the mayors, but all of us. We're very fortunate that we're the figureheads for this great community. And we're going out there and we're forging ground for us. We're opening doors for all of us. As mayors, especially in China, when you want to have a meeting, you have a meeting. When I signed the friendship agreement with the Vice Mayor of Chongqing, she told her ministers, you make this happen, and she left and they all said, okay. I thought, wow, if only I had that power. But we do have that power, and we're very, very well recognized and respected globally. So I want to say to all of us that it is about Team Waterloo Region. I'm proud of this community. I'm proud to represent us. And believe me, we have a long, incredibly exciting future ahead of us. It's just waiting for us, and us. The three of us are going to get out there and keep working on behalf of this community and open doors for all of us. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I plan to come only to heckle the three mayors where I've been thrust upon you. I want to take just a brief moment to speak at a high level, perhaps, about the role of the federal government in promoting our region and helping to promote business and trade. I want to begin by thanking the CTT, the very important role that they play in growing our region here, promoting our community, and thank the work of our three mayors, not only leading their respective cities, but promoting them around the globe. And if I can perhaps reiterate some of the themes that we've heard today. Doug mentioned that, in fact, municipalities have a very important role to play in promoting trade internationally and growing business. I certainly agree. I think the role of the federal government is to help set the stage, if you will, to create a framework. You know, Canada is on track to become one of the freest trading nations in the world. This is not only impressive and something to be proud of, but something that I think that we can continue to leverage. In China, for example, the Prime Minister recently visited China, had a very successful trip, signed what's called a FIPA, a Foreign Investment Protection Agreement, to encourage trade and investment between Canada and China, to ensure that investors have a certain framework of safeguards and protection. In terms of our plans for the future, we're in the final stages of a free trade agreement with the European Union. We hope to finalize that perhaps in the coming months. That's 2012. 2013, plans for a free trade agreement with India. So of course we had a long-standing free trade agreement with the United States. You combine that with the European Union, which is a population of 500 million. You then combine that with India, population of 1 billion. You then combine that with continued enhanced trading relationships with China. And we're very well positioned as a country. And this region is well positioned. We do in fact have a wonderful story to tell to the international community, and can compete with any company, any region, any country, across a range of sectors: financial services, high-tech, clean tech, education, post-secondary education. We've heard today that trading and enhanced opportunities is about building relationships. In the work that we all do, we build relationships as well. So certainly, if you do have plans to reach out to a particular country or jurisdiction, let us know. So I think we have a very exciting future, not only our country, but our region and our community, and we're very well positioned, in closing, I think, to enhance our business and trading opportunities, to continue to create jobs, and to grow our prosperity here in the